Welcome to All Things Worken. I'm your host, Ken, and today I'll be doing a Q&A. As many of you may know, I am a serial entrepreneur with many businesses under my belt. So the first question is, what made you start your podcast? Love what you were doing. Thank you. And this question was asked by Admire More Design. What made me start my podcast? I think what made me start my podcast is, for one, I love YouTube. I love talking. I love business. I love all things working. And I finally am in a space in my life where I feel like it was time for me to give myself what I've been writing down. I have literally written in my journal that I want to be a YouTuber. I've written in my journal that I wanted to start a podcast. And I feel like because I just ended one of my most successful endeavors, Morphographics, it was time for me to pivot into something that was even greater. The second question is, what would you consider to be the pros of starting over? And this question was asked by my girlfriend, and y'all don't need her Instagram name. So what is the pros of starting over? I think the pros of starting over is just giving it all to God and doing it this time with God. When I first started my business, I was very young. I wasn't really knowledgeable about my spirituality, and I wasn't in tune with myself or God. So because I recently just got baptized and I recently just started my walk with God, I feel like I have grown so much closer to God, and my faith has strengthened so much. So I feel like doing this and starting over with God is something that has been a big pro of mine, because I've been doing things with intentionality, and I have been walking in obedience, doing what God has called me to do on this physical realm of the earth. Okay, so the third question is, what happened that made you realize it was time to transition? And this question was asked by Effortlessly Erica. This kind of goes hand in hand with the other two questions that I just answered. However, I would like to elaborate more onto that. First of all, I love the person who's asking this question, because she actually has a transformation type of company business, and she has been through her own transformation in her life. So shout out to you, and thank you for asking me this question. And as you know, transitions are not easy. Transitions are they're pretty tricky. Like, one minute you're thinking about if you're doing the right thing, next minute you're thinking about if you want to go back to what you were doing because you're so used to it. And I don't think anything in particular happened but growth. I think that as you grow as a person and as you grow in your life, so do the things around you. And as I stated earlier, I have been doing this since I was 18 years young. I am now 25, and it's like, I'm not doing the same things that I was doing when I started my companies, my prior companies. And so it's like, with grown woman things come grown woman endeavors, and I have to be in the position to be able to continue to elevate no matter what's going on around me, and no matter what I was used to. And so I think that's really like the main thing that happened is growth. And I also think that, like, I just sat down in stillness and isolation. Life happened. Like, when life comes at you, you have to pivot through that. And when life came at me, I knew that once I conquered that and got over what life was handling me, that was also time for me to start something new. What is your next business venture? And this question was asked by Paper Bay Design Studio. So my next business venture is called Just God Company, where we talk about all things God and we bring women closer to God. God has been calling me to bring him to the forefront of my company, and I literally did a 3-day Esther fast, and I literally wrote down Just God in my business. I hosted a 3-day webinar where we did Bible studies, and that really became a community. It grew beyond what I could even imagine in a matter of weeks. I now have a community of over 300 people, and I'm going to continue to embark on that journey and grow it and bring God to the forefront of my business. So stay tuned to know more about Just God and my business and Just God the company. The next question is, any advice for teen graphic designers? I'm struggling out here. And this question was asked by Dolled Up Graphics. I think the first thing to recognize is that you're not struggling. I feel like it's all about your mindset. And when you say you're struggling, you claim that energy upon yourself. So don't say you're struggling, just say, you know, you're trying to pivot through your business or whatever the case may be, but you are not struggling. I do want to tell you, and my advice to you is that graphic design is a skill that is taught over time. You're not going to start off being perfect. Your stuff is not going to look like anybody else's stuff. And your stuff is supposed to stand out and look different. So don't compare your work to anybody else's work. And then also I would say that believe in yourself. Know that your work is creative. Know that what you're creating, other people want to indulge in. And just know that you're worthy. Like, I feel like it's all about mindset. When you know that you're that girl, when you know that your designs are worthy of being purchased and servicing other people, you will claim that energy and other people will begin to support you. However, you have to practice. Practice makes perfect. And don't be hard on yourself. We're all human beings and nobody is perfect. I feel like a lot of people in the graphic design industry feel like their stuff has to look a certain way, or they have to have a certain amount of followers, or they have to be making a certain amount of money. And that is not true. It's all about your talent and what you practice and work towards. So don't give up and keep trying. And also invest in yourself. Invest in classes, invest in courses. If you feel like there's a struggle point or something that you're struggling with in graphic design, research it, look on YouTube, look for inspiration, and continue to work on your craft. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to contact me on my public page or on All Things Worken. My public page is The Ken Omi, and All Things Worken is All Things Worken. I have a graphic design academy, a six-week graphic design academy, Morphographics Academy, where I teach my students how to create and use Adobe Photoshop. Market with Star X. Why are you closing your business? It's so good. So I'm closing my business because I'm being obedient to God in this season. God asked me to bring him to the forefront of my company, and with doing that, I have allowed myself to embark on a new endeavor. With that being said, I will no longer be operating out of Morphographics. I feel like with obedience comes things that you just would never see or know. I never even imagined myself releasing Morphographics because it is so good, like you said. We all see how good it is. I knew how good it was. I was making money off of it. I was doing really good, but sometimes God calls you to do things beyond what you can understand. And so I had to release to allow God to be in control of my life. And in this season of my life, I'm releasing all things. And so that was one of the main things that God was telling me to release. I didn't understand, and I may still not understand now, but in the long run, I feel like it will be worth it. Sometimes you have to let go of what looks good. Sometimes you have to let go of what you think is good so that you can get what you really need in life. This question is from I Am Brianna Brown. She says, I'm debating on design as a business. What advice would you tell yourself as a starter? As a starter, I would tell myself to be prepared because you never know what God is going to send you. I never even imagined that I would have worked with half of the clients that I work with. And don't be afraid to bet on yourself. Like, I feel like oftentimes we are always in our head about doing something. And if it's a thought, do it. If you feel like you want to do something, do it. Like, we have so much time on this earth, and I feel like time is of the essence. So do what you envision, do what you dream on. If God sent you a dream, embark on that dream. If God sent you a vision, embark on that. So if you truly feel like graphic design is something that God sent you and called you to do, I would definitely say do it. And then also I would tell myself as a starter to be organized. Make sure you're ready and you have all your ducks in a row and that you're operating at a professional manner so that you can attract the clientele that you want and need. And when I say being prepared and being organized, I'm telling you to be prepared in your mindset. I'm telling you to be prepared in what's next to come for you. So when it comes to your graphic design company and your graphic design business, make sure that if God is calling you to do that, you already have a business plan. You already know who you want to service. You already know who you want to work with, so that when it's time for you to market yourself, you already know how to do that and what ways to do that and who to market to. So just make sure that you get a pen and a paper and write down exactly what your dreams and your goals and your aspirations are when it comes to being a graphic designer, so that you can pivot in that. All right, y'all, that's a wrap. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to All Things Worken.